Her voice trembled against the storm. "It takes your soul. You don't even love me." He tightened his grip, eyes burning. "Then I'll love you with what's left of me." Boom! The sword ignites. The storm clawed at the cliff like nature itself was trying to tear them off the world. Ethan Cole's fingers burned as he hauled Lyra up the jagged pathway, an impossible staircase carved into obsidian rock. Each step crumbled the moment they touched it, like the mountain resented their existence. Lyra wasn't light. Not because of her size, she was wiry and fierce, but because she clutched a weapon that seemed heavier than reality. A sword blacker than darkness, drinking in every flicker of light. Even its shape felt wrong. Edges too smooth, a surface too cold, like it belonged underwater or nowhere. Her breath hitched. "Don't touch my sword. It takes the wielder's soul." Wind ripped the warning from her mouth and hurled it into the storm. Too late. A roar echoed against the canyon walls. Raider bikes, gravity engines whining like angry ghosts, skidded up the vertical stone below them. Their headlights sliced through dust, hunting for blood. Ethan didn't slow. He'd stopped slowing down for danger a long time ago. Maybe that's why he was still alive. Or maybe he was too stubborn to do anything else. His arms trembled, boots slipping on pebbles that instantly vanished into the endless drop beside them. Lyra tried to pull away. "Leave me. Save yourself." "Nope." Tried that hero without a plan vibe before. Didn't work out. She glared, wounded and exhausted but still terrifying. "If you lift that blade, you die for me. That's the law. That's the price." Ethan finally looked down at the sword resting against her legs. Felt like it was watching him, waiting. Something exploded below. Blue sparks of plasma scattering off the canyon wall. Raiders were close. Too close. He tightened his grip around Lyra as loose stone avalanched beneath them. They slipped, one heartbeat from falling to their deaths. Ethan had a choice. Let go, or grab the cursed blade that promised doom. "What kind of sword kills the one holding it?" he muttered. "One forged by cowards afraid of love," she whispered. He didn't understand that. He didn't need to. He reached for the hilt. The metal bit into his palm, ice cold, hungry. A violent pulse shot through his veins like lightning trying to rewrite who he was. Lyra stiffened, eyes wide with terror and something else. Hope? The sword accepted him. The mountain groaned. Raiders skidded to an abrupt stop. Every single one of them dismounted, then dropped to one knee. Not in respect, in judgment. And Ethan realized something horrifying. He wasn't dying for her. He was living for her, whether he wanted to or not. The raiders' armor rattled as they knelt. Their heads bowed not in worship, but in fear. That fear wasn't directed at Lyra. It wasn't for the storm. It was for him. Ethan's hand shook around the sword's grip. He tried to release it, but the weapon refused, clinging to him like a second pulse. Something cold threaded through his bloodstream. Curiosity, hunger, purpose. All emotions he wasn't sure belonged to him. Lyra stared at his hand like she was watching a miracle she wished would never happen. "You shouldn't be alive," she murmured. "No outsider has ever survived the binding." He managed a breathless laugh. "Lucky me. I'm statistically irresponsible." She didn't laugh back. Thunder cracked overhead. A raider with a jagged facial tattoo finally rose and pointed his blade toward Ethan. "Bearer," he rasped, voice trembling. "Come with us. The council must see the one who shattered fate." Ethan blinked. Shattered what? Lyra forced herself upright, gripping his jacket for balance. "They think you're part of some prophecy. They're wrong. And if they convince themselves they're right, we're dead." The raider stepped closer. "Refusal is not an option. The plateau will judge your soul." "Cool, cool," Ethan muttered. "Trial by angry mob. Classic justice system." Before he could protest further, gravity boots clamped around his ankles. The raiders pulled the two of them toward their crawler bikes, sleek machines made of scrap metal and humming energy coils. Lyra whispered sharply, "No matter what happens, don't let go. If you drop the sword, it will finish the job. So the breakup is fatal. Good to know." Her eyes softened, just a flash, but enough to wound him more than any blade. They rode through a maze of shifting rock structures, stone that looked alive, like the earth might inhale any second. The air changed too, warmer, electric, almost hopeful. A massive gate emerged ahead, half organic, half machinery. An ancient structure breathing steam like a sleeping giant. Beyond it sprawled a hidden community. Iron homes fused into stone, dim lights flickering like stars that had forgotten how to shine. People turned as Ethan passed. Some gasping, others crossing their hearts, a few stepping back in terror. He wasn't a hero to them. He was a weapon, a dangerous idea with legs. The raider escort leaned close enough for Ethan to smell the engine grease. Speak carefully. One wrong word, and they break your bond. And your bones. Lyra swallowed, steadying herself. Ethan, this changes everything. He looked at the sword welded to his palm. Yeah, he said. I can't even change my grip. But inside, beneath sarcasm and panic, something else stirred. A question the sword whispered straight into his bones. What if you were meant for this? The council chamber was colder than the storm outside. Stone walls swallowing sound, torches flickering like they were afraid to burn too brightly. Ethan stood in the center of the floor, sword still fused to his hand, while 100 eyes judged every breath he took. Lyra stayed close, one hand pressed against her healing wound, the other hovering near him, like she wasn't sure if she wanted to protect him or apologize to him. The council elder stepped forward, robes dragging against the ground in a slow accusation. Her gaze was sharp enough to peel a soul apart. You touched the soul blade willingly? She asked. Ethan nodded. Well, willingly-ish. I was falling, and I panic-grabbed. A few people gasped, some offended by his tone, others startled that he dared to be human. The blade does not accept humor, the elder warned. It accepted me, he shot back. So maybe it likes personality. Lyra elbowed him so sharply he almost dropped the sword, which, according to earlier warnings, would likely result in instant death. Not ideal. The elder's stare moved to Lyra. You should have died rather than allow a foreigner to wield your legacy. Lyra's jaw tightened. I would be dead if he hadn't acted. You prefer corpses to choices. The council whispered among themselves, shocked by her defiance. The elder lifted a hand for silence. The bond must be tested. A forced link is hollow. A chosen one is a threat. She stepped closer until Ethan could see the years carved into her wrinkled skin. If he truly chose the vow, he might unmake every law that shaped our lives. That's a lot of pressure for a guy whose most stable relationship is with caffeine, Ethan muttered under his breath. 2 armored guards approached, each holding a small blade etched in symbols that hurt to look at. Lyra's breathing hitched. No, not that ritual. Ethan glanced sideways. Ritual? Did we skip a briefing? They're doing the soul fracture, she whispered. It tears apart the bond. If it's real, the pain might kill us. If it's not, he asked, then the sword finishes you alone. The elder raised her chin. Prepare the pattern. At sunset, we separate what should never have been joined. Ethan was dragged toward a staircase leading below. Cold, dark, silent. Lyra reached for him, voice raw. You didn't choose to be a weapon. He managed a weak smile. Sure I did. I chose you. For the first time, the elder looked shaken, because true choice was the one thing she could not control. The staircase spiraled so far underground that Ethan began to wonder if they were descending into the planet's memory. The air thickened with every step, colder, heavier, as if the darkness itself resented their arrival. By the time they reached the chamber, Ethan's breath fogged in front of him. The room was circular, carved from stone older than language. Strange patterns etched into the floor glowed faintly, lines that pulsed like veins. It didn't feel like architecture. It felt like a living heart waiting to beat. The guards shoved Ethan and Lyra to the center of the glowing sigil. She winced when her injured side brushed against him. He caught her gently, lowering her so she wouldn't crumble. Still think this is a great adventure? She whispered, voice strained. Ethan forced a smirk. 10 out of 10. Would almost die again. Her laugh came out thin but real. The council entered behind them, forming a circle around the pattern. The elder lifted her blade, its edge shimmering in unnatural light. When the soul fracture begins, she said, you will feel the bond pull against itself. If your connection is false, the break will be clean. If it is true. She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't have to. Ethan swallowed. He wasn't scared of pain, but he was scared of failing her. The chant began low, rhythmic, ancient. The symbols on the ground brightened. The air vibrated. Ethan felt something tug at his chest, subtle at first, like a rope pulling from inside his ribs. Lyra gasped, doubling over. It's starting, Ethan. Don't let go. I'm right here, he said, gripping her hand tighter. Then the pain hit, white-hot, deep, not physical but emotional, ripping through memories he'd buried years ago. His father leaving, his squad dying in front of him. The moment he realized saving people didn't save him. He dropped to one knee, forehead nearly touching stone. Lyra choked out, fight it, fight with me. I'm trying, he said, voice breaking. The sword reacted. Light surged up his arm, flooding his vision. He felt a presence inside him, speaking without words, pushing into every corner of his being. Give me your fear. I will rewrite you. No, Ethan whispered. I'm not letting you replace me. The sword pulsed, frustrated. The elder watched, fascinated and horrified. The blade is resisting him. Why? Lyra dragged herself closer, gripping the front of Ethan's shirt. Because he's choosing. It's not supposed to handle choice. A crack shot through the pattern, stone splitting like ice under pressure. The council recoiled. The ritual wasn't breaking the bond. The bond was breaking the ritual. Ethan forced himself upright, trembling, drenched in sweat. Is this normal? Lyra wiped tears from her eyes. Nothing about you is normal. The ground shuddered, and something ancient inside the sword finally woke up. The chamber convulsed like a wounded animal. Dust rained from the ceiling. The glowing sigils flickered violently, symbols gasping for stability but finding none. The elder stumbled backward. Stop the ritual. The bond is burning it alive. But there was no stopping it now. The sword erupted, blinding light exploding outward, a sound like steel screaming. The guards were thrown against the walls, weapons clattering uselessly across the stone. Ethan clung to consciousness through sheer stubbornness. His pulse synced to the blade, 2 heartbeats slamming into one rhythm. The sword wasn't feeding on him. It was defending him. Lyra leaned into him, tears streaking down her face. Hold on, please. Don't let this take you. He laughed weakly, through the agony. I'm kind of attached at this point. The elder shielded her eyes, voice trembling. This is impossible. The blade's obeying his will. No, Lyra stood, unsteady but fierce. It's obeying his choice. The power surged again, this time not wild, but controlled. Like a storm deciding where to strike. Ethan felt it, an awareness inside the sword. Ancient, calculating, not cruel, just waiting. A presence that whispered. Bearer found. Law rewritten. The ritual circle shattered. Lines of energy raced up the walls, breaking chains that had held generations captive to tradition. Torches extinguished one by one, replaced by soft luminescent markings crawling across the chamber like new veins forming. The council stared, terrified. What have you done? A member choked out. Ethan breathed hard, but a grin curved his lips. Call it an update. Lyra grabbed his face with trembling hands. You're alive. You sound surprised, he teased. She didn't let go. I'm relieved. He opened his mouth to joke again, but stopped, because above them, the ceiling slowly parted. Not cracked, not broken, just parted. A map lit up across the sky, vast and pulsing, showing countless points of light scattered across the world. Lyra stared. Soul blades. More than we ever knew. The elder whispered, shaken to her core. If choice spreads, the old rule ends. Ethan tightened his fist around the sword. So, let it end. Lyra's smile was tired but proud. You're going to turn the whole world upside down. He offered his free hand to her. Help me flip it? She laced her fingers through his, no hesitation. Always. The sword hummed, content. And for the first time in its existence, it wasn't taking a soul. It was protecting one. If you'd like, I can now. The world above has changed, but the greatest battles haven't even begun. Soul blades are waking, old laws are falling, and a single choice has sparked a rebellion. He didn't mean to become a legend. He just refused to let her fall. Their story is only getting started. Stay with us, because the next chapter will decide who lives free and who becomes a weapon. Subscribe for part 2. Cross swords, sparkles,